There's been somewhat of an uproar about the case of Cannon Hinnant, a 5-year-old boy who was murdered by a black man. Now, some people have gone and tried to take advantage of this situation to tear down the Black Lives Matter movement and to equate what's not equal, what's not equatable. This is Kaitlin Bennet, who is a racist agitator and a psyops operator. She manipulates the fantasies of young incel type kids, boys, or young men who are sexually repressed, and she knows that she's playing games with them. Is that Liberty Hangout or Libertine Hangout? Caitlin sort of blurs the difference, doesn't she? She's a very dangerous person. Caitlin is no fool. She's marketing herself to sexually repressed, generally young incel types, and she's very clever at this. This is a woman who claims that she wants to go back to the good old days when modesty and family values prevailed, and this is how she presents herself. Ironic, isn't it? There are a lot of reasons why this current generation doesn't have as much sex as previous generations. A lot of it, of course, is due to economics. The young men cannot afford courtship. They are often living with their parents. They don't have money to court a young lady and take her out and show her a good time. And so there's a lot of frustration, and a lot of these young guys are attracted to the what they call the alt-right, which is a highway or a pipeline to the neo-Nazi movement. And of course, that's very dangerous. Because when a young guy is jerking himself off while watching and listening to this woman, the words that she says make a deeper impression on his mind. Anyway, I want to get to the murder itself and to my suspicions as to what may be behind it. I don't have any special information, and I'm not an insider in any way. I'm a retired cabbie slash child protective service worker slash clerk slash day laborer who has a cell phone. In my younger days, I was more articulate. I even was something of a prize winner in debates in high school. But those are the old days. Now I have Bidenitis, or at least a slight case of Bidenitis. The difference, of course, between me and Joe Biden is I'm not running for office. I'm just a schlub who's got a cell phone and opinions, and I'm putting them up on YouTube. Now, what I want to say about this is when I read about all the details that I could find, that the young boy's family was friends with Mr. Sessoms, that they often had him over for dinner, that he could be seen at times sitting on a patio drinking beer with the young boy's father. I really got concerned, and I really started to wonder what could be going on with this. How could this have happened? It just doesn't seem logical. It doesn't seem reasonable, because if this man was a guy who just hated white people, he wouldn't. Why would he have hung out for so long with this boy's family? Why would he have sat down at their table and ate dinner with them? It just doesn't make sense. I think there's something more to this, and I think a lot of people will realize that there's got to be something more to this, and that brought me to the subject of MK Ultra, Sirhan, and the assassination of Robert Kennedy. I'm going to just leave some stuff up here for you to consider. There's a short video about Sirhan and the murder of Robert Kennedy. There are a few Google searches that I did that show you some facts that need consideration about the death of Robert Kennedy and the role played by Sirhan and a very sophisticated hypnotherapist and psychiatrist named Dr. William J. Bryan, who apparently had been a psychiatrist to Mr. Sirhan.
So I thank all of you who made this possible this evening.
The Ambassador Hotel, Los Angeles, June 5th, 1968.
Over 1,000 people there.
Win there. Thank you very much.
Democratic presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy wins the California primary.
It was just a beautiful moment.
After his speech, Kennedy walks with the crowd into the hotel kitchen.
The television lights went on, kind of blinding, and all of a sudden I felt a shaking, like I was being electrocuted.
Paul Schrade is 91. Back then, he was a union official, a friend of RFK's. Schrade was shot in the head. That's him on the ground. 5 others shot and hurt. Robert Kennedy shot 3 times. People jumped on Sirhan.
Grabbed his gun hand, pushed him up against a steam table, flattened him out.
Kennedy died. Sirhan was convicted, sentenced to life in prison. Schrade knows Sirhan shot him, but
He couldn't shoot Robert Kennedy and didn't. He was never in a position to do this.
Schrade says he spent the last 40 years investigating his friend's assassination.
There's strong evidence of a second gunman.
He says experts re-examined evidence.
They could not match the Kennedy neck bullet. He got hit in the back and the neck. It was the only whole bullet they could work with. It did not match the Sirhan gun.
Kennedy was shot in the back. Schrade says Sirhan was in front of Kennedy.
He never shot Robert Kennedy.
Schrade alleges a government cover-up.
Massive destruction of evidence right after the trial.
But why?
I don't know, you have to ask them because they never told us. We tried to
Enter
find
William
out.
Joseph Bryant, a psychiatrist who had worked for the CIA on the MK Ultra project, and also he had been a ranking psychiatrist in the U.S. Army. Now, Bryant is a well-known, or was a well-known, expert in hypnosis, and one of his patients was Sirhan. I'm not here to tell you that Sirhan was an angel. I'm not here to tell you that he wasn't in that hotel with a gun. He was. But the point is, number one, he's not the guy that shot Robert Kennedy, okay? The other point is, when they caught him, he didn't know where he was or why he was there or what had happened. I think someone needs to look into the situation of Sessoms. I know that he did jail time. I don't know how much jail time, but I know that prisoners often volunteer for medical experiments in order to get lenient treatment. Now, I don't know if that's the case, but I suspect that it might be. And I would like for somebody to find out about it. People who are saying that the media is not covering or did not cover this case need to SCFU. Now, this is a murder. It's a simple murder, and it doesn't get national attention day after day and week after week.